This is Mike Jenkins doing a review of the Star Trek Picard series on CBS All Access streaming network. I'm doing this because I'm so pissed as I see, a lot of reviewers on YouTube have posted some reviews. I haven't watched any of them because I wanted to watch this episode first. Just to see how everything was going to wrap up with this series. It's only 8 episodes long. And of course, not that there's that many people watching, but if anybody tunes in and is watching this review, this is more for a vent out for myself. But if anybody's watching, spoiler alert, I might be getting into spoilers if you haven't watched the show and are considering watching it. I would suggest watching it if you're into Star Trek, just so you can say that if you're a completionist, that you've watched this Star Trek show. I try to take in anything that's Star Trek, at least television and film wise. I haven't really read too many novels or comic books. I'm mainly just the TV movie type of guy when it comes to this franchise. But again, it's 8 episodes long. It is not at all what I expected, and it's continuing this trend in the entertainment industry of just going against the expectations of the fan community. They're just... If they're thinking that fans are going to want you to go left, they're going to make sure they go right, and then turn around and not understand why fans get pissed off and reject the product that they've created. And I'm seeing that that's something that's happening here. I would say that even though this show is called Star Trek Picard, I think a lot of fans were hoping and expecting that this would be a sort of reunion show. I know a lot of the actors were wanting to be in the series to reprise their roles. And to some degree, it did do that. Again, going into spoiler territory, about half of the core cast of Star Trek The Next Generation does make appearances, but for the most part, Picard's crew, if you will, is all brand new people, and I think that creates a sort of disconnect. There's nothing wrong with introducing new characters to the lore, but I would say that for nostalgic purposes, or having a sense of association, you might want to bring more characters back in some form. Maybe not have them on the same ship. Maybe Picard goes off on an adventure and he encounters this character or this group of characters, and just somehow create a story where you're tying in all of those characters, maybe for the length of the series, or in and out, or a cameo. But that just didn't happen, and I personally found that disappointing. The series does serve as I consider it a sequel to Star Trek Nemesis, which is the last Next Generation film before the film series got rebooted with the Chris Pine Star Trek film series. I would say that the Picard show works as a sequel to both Nemesis and a companion, if you will, to the Chris Pine series, because it all deals with Romulus and the destruction of the Romulan Empire and the aftermath of that. And so the Chris Pine film series was born essentially. It was essentially born out of the destruction of the Romulan Empire, and the Picard series is more or less dealing with the aftermath or what's happened since the destruction of the Romulan Empire. So there's a lot of good aspects to the show as far as picking up, some time after that last film and touching base and keeping us in that continuity. But I personally feel that the story is very detached. It's a long-winded 8-episode that I feel really shouldn't have been given that much breadth. I wouldn't mind having dealt with this story in a 2 or 3-parter if the season was, say, 25 episodes long. But to focus on this narrative for 8 episodes, and then, the ending. I think the ending is really what hits you in the gut. And I'm gonna go into spoiler territory. I'm just gonna go out and go spoilers here, because this is really why I had to jump on and record myself and vent. They kill Picard. So they just go in and he dies. And not only do they kill Picard, they kill Data again. So you've already killed him in Star Trek Nemesis. So this is just a bunch of spoiler shit here. Data's already died in Star Trek Nemesis, and teased us throughout this season. This first season, there's supposed to be a season 2 of Picard. Whoopi Goldberg's supposed to be coming in. But the way this ended, I'm like, why the fuck are you even bothering thinking about doing a season 2 for this? So Data sacrifices himself at the end of Star Trek Nemesis to save Picard and to save the crew of the Enterprise. But, they had teased throughout the film the possibility of him finding a way to get resurrected. So he downloads a part of himself into his quote-unquote brother. They discover another android that is an exact duplicate of Data. He's just a little more primitive. And he goes by the moniker B4. And he seems to be more primitive than Data, and they're not quite sure if he's going to be able to evolve like Data did. But Data tries and downloads a part of himself into B4. So when the film ends, we get this little tease that maybe B4 is going to be the way that Data resurrects himself. Well, fast forward, we come to Picard. That's definitely not the case. That didn't end up happening. But the series does find other ways of tugging at you and teasing you that, they might actually bring Data back after all. And of course, that ends up not being the case, and Data goes and asks Picard to pull the plug on him. It's just a bizarre ending. It's all. I spent the last 15 minutes of this episode jaw dropped and just going, "What the fuck are you doing? What is happening here?" And I understand the whole subverting expectations and not going down the predictable route, which would be, like I said earlier, going in and reuniting the original cast. That's like the most predictable thing you could do, because that's what a lot of people want. So it's like they sat in the writer's room and they said, this is what all the fans want. But let's not do that, because that's the most predictable thing you could do. And let's try to be inventive and unique and creative here and find some other thing to do. And so it's just, it's like they kill Luke Skywalker, they kill Han Solo, and then they realize, oh, we fucked up there, we shouldn't have done that. And then they find these stupid ways of bringing them back. And it's like, you shouldn't have fucking killed them in the first place. And so here we go again. They do the same thing with Picard. And right in the same episode, they come up with this stupid way of resurrecting him. So it's like, well, that's not really Picard, because Picard just fucking died. So now season 2 is about this dude that's not even Picard. So you've just killed the fucking series. I don't want to watch a show about some dude that's got Picard's memories, played by Patrick Stewart, because that's not really Picard. I mean, I guess you can debate it, but anyway, I just had to vent. If I ruined the show for you because you didn't watch it, I apologize, but I told you this is going to be spoilers. Discovery Season 3 is coming up pretty soon here. I'll be watching that. If Picard Season 2 does happen, because there's been a lot of backlash because of just how the series has run. If there is a Season 2, I will watch that just to see where it goes. But I'm just surprised and shocked that they took the direction that they took. And I guess we'll just have to see where Season 2 goes. Anyway, that's my rant, and I'm going to stop it there.